Guess that was too bad for that for
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. At this time, would everyone please take the opportunity to silence your cell phones for the duration of the service. Thank you. My name is Rochelle Broom, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we're stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, and many stories. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism, I encourage you to take note of our mission statement, which is printed on the front of the order of service. We also work together today to promote and practice the 8 principles, which are printed on the inside of the order of service. It's our tradition to welcome first and second time visitors, or those of you who haven't been here for a while, to stand if you're comfortable doing so and introduce yourself to us and tell us where you are from. Can we start on this side today?
Well, my name is Dylan Stearns. I'm a returning member. I believe the last time I was here was sometime in 2015. It's been a long while. I've gone from being fresh out of high school and just being absorbed into the workforce to some time in Raleigh and back home. And I've just kind of finally found time and the energy, I suppose, to get back into it.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back.
I'm Mary Campbell, visiting from Asheville. My daughter Susan.
Hello.
Good morning. Thanks for making the trek. Anyone else on this side?
Lisa and Dwayne from Black Mountain, second-time visitors.
Yay,
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Anyone else on this side? How about the other side? All right, it's the home team playing on this side. Well, welcome to you all. If you're interested in learning more about us, or you'd like to receive our newsletter, or find out how you can be more involved in the community, there are some white cards in the back of the pews. There's also some on the table in the foyer. If you'll fill those out, we'll have your information, and we'll have you on the list, and you'll be able to get our current that comes out on a weekly basis to let you know what's going on here. You can also speak with one of our membership committees, and you'll notice that they have the orange name tags like Andy is demonstrating there. Thanks, Andy. So announcements for today. We have a few. You may have noticed on your way in that there was a table being put up. I guess it's still out there. The Social Action Committee has an information table that's set up. Please stop by there for a few minutes during the coffee hour to see what they've been working on lately. And they wanted me to let you know that they'd also like to know what issues you are interested in, as that will help them as they plan for the coming year. From a message from the board, we are looking for a few good board members coming up. If you have an interest in serving on the UUCSD Board of Trustees, this is the group that provides directional and fiscal governance for our congregation. If you have an interest, please let me know or contact any other board member to whom you may have an acquaintance, and they will get information to you. And there's also sort of a brief bio that we ask you to fill out, just so everybody can get a chance to know a little bit about you. Great. The potential slate of board members for 24-25 will be presented to the congregation during our annual congregation meeting. That's going to be held on June 9th. So I'm giving you a couple of dates today, but you're going to see those in the upcoming current. We're actually going to have two congregational meetings kind of back to back. One will be May 19th. That one will be focused on our bylaws. After our last congregational meeting, we looked to see that there may be some things that needed to be, maybe language needed to be changed, some additions, some clarities, and so the board has spent a good deal of time looking at our current bylaws, and we have some proposed language changes. You'll get all that information 2 weeks before the meeting, and it'll be emailed to you so that you know exactly what we'll be talking about, and you can be abreast of all of that before we actually get together and meet. So that the meeting about bylaws update will be on May 19th after services, and our annual what the heck did we do this year congregational meeting will occur on June 9th. Next one comes to you from the Safety Committee. They want to remind everybody who's having meetings here, all of our committee chairs, etc. If you're having a meeting inside behind closed doors, please lock the door behind you once all of your attendees are here. We continue to work with Black Mountain's finest, as do other churches, in terms of increasing the safety for our congregation. So you probably saw the notice in the current, and I just want to say it from here as well. Please, please, please lock the doors behind you. And then convene your meeting. UU Climate Conversations Group is hosting the second annual Earth Day event next Sunday after services. It's from noon to 3 p.m. at Lake Tomahawk Pavilion. There's going to be demos and information to help us walk a little softer on Mother Earth, and there's going to be lots of good music there. Sue Stone is going to be playing, Bill Altork is going to be playing, the Sahara Peace Choir is going to be singing, and lots more. So that is next Sunday. And I think that is all the announcements. Last thing I'd like to do before I step down from here, it's also our practice to acknowledge that the land where we are now gathered has not always been ours to call home. UUCSB acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and other indigenous people. The Cherokee, through stewardship, understanding, and conservation, survived and continue to thrive in this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. So now, we let our service begin.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Dan Hadley, and I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. And the mission of that committee is to nurture a culture of generosity. We started our annual canvas this month. You may see the form in the order of service. Now, I'm not going to ask you to make a commitment today. But I'm going to thank all those who made their commitment last year. Last year, we had 86 donors representing over 119 individuals and families. And given that we've been growing, we expect that that number will increase this year. And I want to thank all of you who have contributed. My father used to say, the money you give to the church doesn't cost you anything. What does that mean? Think about it. Well, I think it means that you're actually giving to yourself. You are supporting your values. So you're giving, your generosity reflects your values, and they're nurtured here. Many members and friends give of their time, their talents, and their treasure to support this congregation. Please join them in the spirit of generosity.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's good to see you this morning. You know, we're having our canvas, obviously. I know nothing gets by you. And we want to, each week, we're going to have someone to come up and give a little testimonial about why they're here and what they get from being a member here at the church. So with that said, Evan Yannick will come up and share.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Evan Yett. Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak about a cornerstone in my family's lives, the UUCSB. This congregation has become a nurturing ground for my children, Remy and Arlo, many of you have met, enriching their lives with lessons rooted in love, acceptance, and respect for diversity. At the UUCSB, Remy and Arlo are not just learning about spirituality, but are exploring a world teeming with different beliefs and traditions. What stands out here is the commitment to teaching that fosters free thought, empathy, and social justice. These values are not just spoken about, they are lived by everyone involved, shaping my children into compassionate and thoughtful individuals. The religious education at UUCSB extends beyond traditional learning. It involves community service, helping Remy and Arlo realize their actions can significantly impact the world. This hands-on approach has shown them that true spirituality involves service as much as personal reflection. In supporting UUCSB, I'm not only advocating for a nurturing educational environment for my children, but also for a community that exemplifies acceptance and love. Here my children are learning to be citizens of the world, a world that they are ready to improve with kindness and respect. As we look forward to growing our church and enriching more lives, I hope we all see the profound impact that a generous, loving religious education can have. This is why I urge everyone here to consider the power of your contributions during our giving campaign. Let us invest together in the future of our congregation, ensuring that we continue to offer this incredible resource to families like mine and to many others who are seeking a spiritual home. If you have not yet filled out your card, Dan didn't ask, but I will. Please do so today to help us continue this legacy. I want to thank everyone here at the UUCSV for being our family and for teaching my children the importance of goodness and for your enduring commitment to a world where everyone is valued equally. Thank you.
Please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing our opening hymn this morning, number 121, We'll Build a Land. Our responsive reading today is number 656 in the back of the gray hymnal. It's called A Harvest of Gratitude. We'll read this response. Once more, the fields have ripened to harvest, and the fruitful earth has fulfilled the promise of spring.
The work of those who labor has been rewarding. They have sown and reaped, planted and gathered.
How rich and beautiful is the bounty gathered, the golden grain and clustered corn, the grapes of purple and green.
The crimson apples and yellow pears.
Season follows after season, after winter, the spring, after summer, the harvest-laden autumn.
From bud to blossom, from flower to fruit, from seed to bud again, the beauty of earth unfolds.
From the harvest of the soil, we are given occasion to garner a harvest of the heart and the mind.
A harvest of resolve to be careful stewards of all life's gifts and opportunities.
A harvest of reverence for the wondrous power and life at work in things that grow and in the soul.
A harvest of gratitude for every good which we enjoy, and a fellowship for all who are sustained by earth's beauty.
Hey, I'm Linda Metzner, music director, and today is the second Sunday when we have special musical visitors. And today we have Andy Gwynn. A lot of you are familiar with this beautiful, beautiful guitar and voice, most of them composed by himself. He's an NC native who grew up in Eden, North Carolina, with a BA in English from Davidson College, and lived in Black Mountain since 1983. He's retired. He worked for the NC Department of Juvenile Justice, many years at Camp Woodson, a therapeutic wilderness program for adjudicated youth. He's a multi-instrumentalist and a singer-songwriter, founding member of a worship band for the early service at Black Mountain Presbyterian Church. And I always want to point out that then he rushes over here to do another service.
It's just down the street. It's not 30 miles, thank you. Well, I thought I'd step outside the sensitive singer-songwriter genre this morning and do a bluegrass song. And this is a newer bluegrass song that I just became familiar with pretty recently. I like it a lot. It's called Things in Life. Don Stover, who's a banjo player from New England. And it kind of shows you what you can do with two chords. Look up, look down this lonesome road. Hang down your head and cry, for you often lose some things in life, and it makes us wonder why. Oh, the fairest love I've ever known now sleeps beneath a clay. I live in hopes and dreams of her that we'll meet again someday. I often sit and wonder why life has to be this way. But after all is said and done, I'm sure God has His say. with a few small things to achieve. Just to know I've been a fruitless cause would give my poor heart grief. Now when they load my casket down in some lonesome grave to rest, and you take your last look at my face, you can say I did my best.
So this is the time in the service when we invite you to come up and drop a stone or light a candle for your joy and concern. So the floor is yours.
Years.
This is for those of you who, for whatever reason, decided not to come up. Know that we keep you in our thoughts and prayers. Before we do the meditation, I wanted to acknowledge Shelley's 21st birthday today. Shelley Fromm. Shelley, would you stand up? Would you stand
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shelley. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, you should have.
Our prayer for our meditation for Canvas Sunday is by Unitarian Universalist Victoria Weinstein, and so this is a lovely meditation. So I invite you to join us in that spirit, and of course we'll have time of quiet as we usually do afterwards. So in the spirit of the prophet Amos, the Unitarian minister A. Powell Davies prayed, help us to remember that from those to whom much has been given, much is to be expected. And so let's join our hearts in this meditation and reflection. To whom much is given, even more is asked. We have been given the bounty of this beautiful day, and we have been given the gift of the worship tradition that draws us together in this house of hope and memory, of learning, of healing, of growing, and of serving. And so we lift up our grateful hearts. We have been given the inspiration of our brothers and sisters in faith who walk with us the path of the free, religious, liberal life, whose companion and who is our companion as we share our joys and our sorrows. And by some design of fate or necessity, we come to care for one another. We come to love one another. And we come to forgive and to cherish this time of our lives. For that as well, we lift up our grateful hearts. We have been given minds with which to wonder and to reason, and we have given and been given voices to speak and to sing and to shout out against injustice. And we have hands to work and to build the better world we would have for ourselves and for our children. We are asked to use them all in the service of love and justice. We lift up grateful hearts. We have been given the divine spark as children of God, all whose health and wholeness requires us to tend to the life of the soul. And so in our rushing and in all of our doing, may we not forget those who are kindred to us, she writes, but may we not forget who we are and whose we are. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience. We lift up grateful hearts. We ponder this mystery together, glad for one another, blessed by the abundance of our lives, and called to give abundantly of ourselves to it. And now, while our minds are one for this brief moment, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. Don't want to forget this. We'll now collect this morning's offering.
Yeah, I wanted to do, back into the sensitive singer-songwriter mode. I wanted to do a song for y'all this morning. It's one of my songs I wrote for my two daughters. And to tag on that theme of things in life that happened, my daughters lost their mom when they were 9 and 13. My wife had breast cancer, and that should never happen to a kid, for sure. But it does, and you know, we have this natural instinct that's innate, and so we want to protect our kids. You know, we want to keep them from those harsh, hard, terrible things that happen, but we can't do it. So we do the best we can, and that's what the song is about. It's called "No Need for Weeping." There is no need for weeping. That doggy by the roadside was just sleeping. And those monsters from your closet, I've locked them up and thrown away the key. And there is no need for crying. That goldfish in your bowl ain't really dying. He may swim a little funny, but I bet you money he'll be good as new. So close your eyes, go to sleep, it'll be alright. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't waste much of your precious time in sorrow, for your steps will lead you forward from this door, so much you've never seen before. There's a big world out there waiting, so keep some faith in the hand that's orchestrating. And if ever you are captured by your fears, I will be there to dry your tears. So close your eyes, go to sleep, it'll be alright. For I will not desert you, and I apologize for all the times I've hurt you. But the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, sometimes you might hurt me. But time she does unravel, and it's a mighty crooked trail we must travel. Just remember where you came from, and I'm sure your steps will lead you home once more. So close your eyes and go to sleep, it'll be alright. Just close your eyes, go to sleep, it'll be alright.
You put them to sleep before I put them to sleep.
Maybe I should reverse the order.
Well, no, it's okay. I'll just finish what you started. I'll just finish it. Should I do the jokes, or you just want to go back to sleep?
Yes,
Okay.
always.
Now these are, okay. Well, if you don't like them, just don't give money. It's okay. Okay. Does anybody here play tennis? Okay. Yes, I prefer tennis too. I like it quiet though. It's like regular tennis without the racket. I love it. Yeah. The idea is to get worse as the year goes on. I told a joke on a Zoom meeting the other day, and nobody laughed. So it turns out I'm not even remotely funny. Oh yeah. This is the last one. Why? I should say this for Halloween. Why are skeletons so calm? Because nothing gets under their skin. Boom. All right. Revved up, are you? Okay, good. Now we're going to talk a little bit about your time, your talent, and your treasure. We do this every year, and I got to think how many different ways can I do this? But just thinking about it, there's always a charge, I think, around money, especially when it comes to religion and spirituality. And sometimes they're the same thing, and sometimes they aren't. Especially when we see these ministers in these mega churches with all this money, and we wonder, how do the two intersect? I really don't have a problem with that in a way personally. I've learned that if you don't give, somebody else always will. I learned that lesson. There was a couple who came to me who wanted to get married. This is when I first became ordained. And it was, Ray Charles could see that this was not going to work. And I stuck to my guns, and I felt bad, but I didn't, I said, I can't help you here. This doesn't really look good. And they said, fine. And I heard like a week later that someone else did it. You know what I mean? So it's always going to be something, right? And so some people hate money, or so they say they do. Others worship it. Some people just hoard it and keep it from circulating. Some people, of course, say it's the root of all evil. Some say it's right up there with oxygen. Many maintain that money and spirituality really don't get along. They can't coexist together. They're like science and religion in a way, even though we do see it changing. Money and spirituality are still thought of in some circles as two distant cousins that rarely, if ever, speak to one another. I never really had a problem with that. I know this, that you cannot have money. You cannot have anything really if you don't like it. If you have, when people say to me, money is the root of all evil, I want to say, then why don't you give me yours? If it's that bad, let me take it off your hands. I mean, because you cannot have or attract something if you don't think you deserve it. For instance, you cannot have or attract something if you're afraid to give it away. It's true of both money and love. I was raised by parents who themselves were raised by parents who believed in scarcity. They had a scarcity consciousness. And they passed that on to my brother and I. And You know, that's what they knew. But I'll be 67 this year, and I still wrestle with money. This scarcity consciousness, that there's never enough to go around. There's never enough of anything to go around. There's not enough money to go around. There's not enough love to go around. There's not enough food to go around. There's not enough luck. There's not enough codependence to go around. And so this is more of an observation than a critique, because this is how my parents were raised. And they just passed that on to us. They didn't mean to do it, but that's what they modeled for us. And my great-grandparents and their parents lived during the Great Depression, during American apartheid, and so they were just hard times. They were just hard times. And so my parents remembered those times. And, you know, I'm reminded of Langston Hughes' poem. It's called Mother to Son, and she's telling him, you know, son, you know, my life hasn't been a crystal stair. And so this is why you have some of the experiences that you do. And it was very real. It reminded me of my friends who, when they came home, you know, from Vietnam, and they were just so screwed up. And so they didn't realize that the survival skills they needed in the jungle, once they got back here, they didn't, well, maybe they did, but they didn't really need them. And so it's that trauma that they continue, you know, PTSD, don't leave Vietnam without it. You know what I mean? They had that trauma. So I had that coming from this scarcity mentality. It has taken me a long time to, you know, change that consciousness around issues of scarcity and abundance and prosperity. But I have, but it's a continued thing. I have to continue to do it. And at times it's more difficult to unlearn a way of thinking and being than it is to learn a new way of thinking and being. So sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, kind of thing. Now, I know many of you here are from other faith traditions, and they just may be different denominations as far as Orthodox Christianity and the gradation on whatever scale that is. And you're familiar with tithing. Now, we, as Unitarian Universalists, we do not ask you to tithe. The origin of that, obviously, is from the Hebrew Bible, when Yahweh was I wasn't asking them, but he was telling them, you must give the first fruits of your labor, right off the top. 10% of your earnings comes to the temple, comes to me. And the whole idea behind tithing is this, that you want to give back to where your good comes from, where you feel your good or inspiration comes from. And so in this way, your time, your talent, your treasure is viewed as a means and opportunity for self-expression, to give back to the source of one's acknowledged good. That's simply what tithing is. So I don't really have to remind you that we are a faith community and that we have a mission. And we need your resources, time, talent, treasure, all three if you can, to keep the doors of this congregation open. And so we need your time and talent. And I want to stress this, that the canvas, obviously, it's not a competition. You know, we're not at a cocktail party, what you do and that kind of thing. We ask that you give generously, but we also ask realistically. What can you realistically give? I'm reminded of the New Testament story of the widow's mite. It's in Luke and it's in Mark. I don't think Matthew got around to putting it in there. But Jesus is in the temple with his disciples, and a mite, just to set it up, is the smallest quantity of Roman coin you could have in Judea at the time. In Greek, it's called a lepta. And so Jesus is watching as people come in the temple, and you know, they're putting their, giving of their largesse or not. But some of these people made a big show of giving what they gave, and Jesus watches as this rich man makes a great show of tossing his gold into the plate. But right behind him comes a very impoverished and indigenous woman, and she had 2 mites, which is really a couple pennies. And she put them in the plate. And so that evening, when they were eating and talking, Yeshua says, well, you saw what happened today. Who do you think gave the most? And they were like, what do you mean? And he says, these people were putting in gold and he says, no. He talks about the poor widow who had given more than all the people there because she had given all that she had. The other people gave out of their abundance. And when you go back and read these stories, if you ever do, Jesus never says anything about it's wrong to be rich. There's nothing wrong with that. It's that you're not a slave to your wealth and that you can freely give. But she had given out of her poverty. And I tell you that so you're not self-conscious about what you give, about how much or how little. It's not really that, It is quite natural to expect that our individual and personal attitudes about our time and our talent and our treasure will color what we do with our resources. So put another way, our ideas and feelings and fears about prosperity will transfer over into how we give, how much we give, why we give to the good, to where we say our good will come. So I'm assuming this morning, on Easter Sunday we had New Members Sunday, all the new members didn't come, but they joined because they feel that UUCSB is the community that represents their values. And I'm assuming that that's why you're here, that's simply why I'm here. And so I'm assuming that you feel that the 8 principles that we promote and affirm as UUs are important enough, are vital and crucial enough to share, not just in this community, but everywhere that we go. So we're talking not just about our words, but by our deeds. One of the ways, not the only way, but one of the ways we show how much we appreciate an institution or individuals is by how much we give them, how much we pay them. And actually, what most people need is not more money, but probably more motivation. So I just want to quote a few goals for the fiscal year 24-25. We want to install and upgrade the audio system to include volume control for the speakers in the portico. This is not in order of importance. This is just what we want to install. We had an incident last Thursday when I was here. I almost had to call the police to ask somebody to leave who loved it here so much he didn't want to. We want to install security crash bar doors in RE and in the lobby, and between the portico and the lobby. And so we'll have to reframe the entrance to the lobby, remove the glass, the side lights on either side of the current out there. So it's going to take some resources and some doing. We want to replace the existing church management software to be able to provide an online church directory with photos and better informational support for our committees, and provide more robust management reports as needed. And we want to enhance our website designs so members and friends can have access to announcements and events. So these are just some of the things. There are other things we want to do. I had an email from Anna today about shared ministry, we'll be talking a little more about that. That's more of a here thing, and of course, there'll be some action behind it, but shared ministry, that each of us, each of our committees, we have a covenant. It's that saying, you know, UUA's been doing this for years, but now it's blossomed a bit. It's more about, you know, and I talked about this, when you're on a journey, it's not just the journey that's important, it's the type of person you become while you're on the journey. Saying that we all want what's good for the church, we have different ways of getting there, but how can we covenant with each other to be the best people we can be while we're on the journey? But more on that later. So I'm writing my sermon right in front of me. Here's a story from the Hindu spiritual tradition. One evening, a Hindu ascetic, a holy person, was just getting ready to go to sleep under a tree. And he was approached by a person coming from a village nearby who came up running to him and saying, you have something I want. You have a precious stone, and I need that. I want that stone that you have. And the ascetic was like, well, I don't know. What are you talking about? And the man said, Lord Shiva appeared to me in a dream last night and told me that if I come to this place at dusk, a very devout holy man would give me a precious stone that would make me unbelievably wealthy. And the ascetic said, I get here. I got it. And Lord Shiva probably meant this one, and he gives it to him. He said, yeah, I found it in the forest today, and you can have it, I mean, if you need it. And the villager was like, oh my God, the kaleidoscope of colors, I mean, it was impressive, and it was expensive. It was as large as his fist. And so he took it and he walked away, but that night he found that he couldn't sleep. He was troubled, he was tossing and turning, and his spirit was troubled. And the next morning he ran back to the place to try to find the guy, and he put the diamond back in his hands, and he says, I don't want that. I can't use this. He said, what I do want is whatever you have that makes it so easy for you to give me this. So it's all about commitment and support. Money is not good or evil. It simply is. It's an exchange of energy. And we know, thanks to Einstein, that energy can't be destroyed or you can't create it. It just is. It can be transformed. This is good news. It's a currency which we circulate, and it goes out and it comes back to us. And it comes back to us multiplied because of what? Because of our intentionality. We give and receive with good intentions because we want to create the world that we say we want to see exist. And so money is a promissory note that is an exchange for services rendered. It is a means of exchange that says, I will promise to pay you for services or energy that's been rendered or delivered. That could be baking bread, right? There could be something as simple as that. It could be sweeping outside. It could be going to see your doctor for your physical, renovating your home. Now notice, I did not say spend money. I heard another minister who was doing very well out in LA, got a thriving congregation. It's not a UU congregation. And that's, I'm just saying, it wasn't us. But he doesn't use the word spend when referring to money. He says that the word spend or spent means to exhaust something. And he's not exhausting his money, whether he is giving or receiving it. He uses the word circulate instead. He circulates his money. He circulates this energy, and it comes back to him multiplied in a myriad of ways. And I said, well, how did you get to that place? He said, Michael, he said, when you spend money, you feel good, don't you? I said, oh yeah, I feel good, man. And he said, well, then you need to be feeling good when you have to pay the bill. It was so simple. I didn't like to hear it, but it was said. But you know, he was right. He said that if you purchase what you want with joy, then you need to pay your bills with joy. And he was right. And when I write my bills out, and I'm licking the stamp, and I do it the old-fashioned way, I won't go online, I have a smile on my face because I said, you know what? I had fun spending it. You know, I need to have fun paying for it. But it lifts me up, and then more money comes to me. It's amazing how this works. And so it's all about your attitude. Intentionality is a powerful thing because prosperity and abundance is more than just having money. It's health. It's giving and receiving with an open heart. It's living a life of ease, living with some control over your life, having your needs met when you need it. It's easy to forget that. I'll complain, man, what did I do? But and someone will say, but you got the money to pay for it. What are you complaining about? The other money will come in. I know you know what I'm talking about. It's just easy to forget that. And so it's living under control. It's about our attitudes about money and the intention that I'm talking about this morning. We can all be King Midas and just hoard our treasure and wealth and obsess about it and not circulate or invest it. But you can have money and still have a scarcity consciousness. It's just that you won't have the money long. I know many people, wealthy people, who have money, but they have a scarcity consciousness, and so they don't keep it. It's also interesting how the universe puts me around a lot of people with money, so it's trying to tell me something. Are you hearing it, Michael? You see, Ann would have woken up had she been. So one becomes a prisoner to money without the right attitude about it and the right relationship with it. So I know it's uncomfortable to talk about money sometimes. I get that. But we need to overcome it because we are increasing our membership. We're increasing our membership here. We want to pay fair wages to the staff. We want to have a building where we can gather and have our events in. We want these things. We want to continue our outreach, our social justice outreach. We want to keep this going. This takes your time, your talent, and your treasure. We need those. Your talents, obviously, we've got a lot of talented people in this congregation. We have a lot of talented people in this congregation, and we're thankful for it, and we need it. So if you have leadership skills, there's always a committee that can use it. If you are an organizer, we need you. Our Sunday service associates and board needs those skills. We need congregational care volunteers for those of you who are interested. We need more greeters on Sunday mornings. Building and grounds could use your help for those of you who are more aesthetically inclined. And because we realize that everybody can't give financially. We get that. It's not a competition. If you have more time than money, then we want it. It's all good. Give us a nice smile when you do it too. Give us a little smile. I hope that goes a long way. And last but definitely not least, another element of having money and circulating it is your gratitude. It's just being thankful. Gratitude can attract more abundance to us than this world has ever known. And who of you would reward your child with more if they didn't appreciate what they already had? So you don't want to let the things you want make you forget the things you have. Now, Larry and Marty are not here today, but when you see Larry, he's been a good treasurer. When you see him, thank him for what he does. I encourage you to do that. Thank our volunteers and staff for their time, their talent, and the treasure. Thank the board. You don't have to agree with everything we do or they do, but they're volunteers, man. You know, they're doing this because they care. And so don't be shy. Thank the people who chair and work on the committees for this congregation. Thank those who provide hospitality. They keep the building clean. The volunteers that keep us afloat. Thank yourselves. Thank yourselves for walking your talk. You hear me say ad nauseum that the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it. This is what William James says. So we want to dream big. We got big dreams for this community. Money is God in action. We know and affirm that the doors of life will open and pour out a blessing. Your cup will run over. Our cups will run over. So this is the attitude you want to have. You give and it will be given to you with the measure that you use. This is intentionality. That's all it is. So won't you give? Won't you give towards our growth this year of body, of mind, and spirit? Won't you support us in our community outreach? Growth in the number of people that attend, because there are many ways to grow, obviously. Growth in our legacy as free-thinking, progressive, diverse, religious people. Of course you'll give, because that's who you are. And that's who we are. This is your congregation. So I'm going to thank you in advance that we leave here this morning rejoicing, right? Use the old-time language. We're going to rejoice and be exceedingly glad, remembering that twice blessed, 3 times blessed, are those who give of their time, their talent, and their treasure. And so, and we're grateful for being, the recipients of your generosity. You make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And so we have much to contribute, and we have much to show gratitude for, and we got an exciting church year ahead. So we're over. So let's go forth now and receive our good, and let's go home. Our closing hymn this morning is number 144. Now is the time approaching. Please stand as you are willing and able. So, please don't leave yet until Andy does his thing. But we thank you, Andy. We thank you, Maestro. Thank you, Evan, for testifying. And I guess we'll see who testifies next week. May love hallow every home and every heart. May the truth shine bright among you and bless you with wisdom and peace and strength. And we might as well just throw love in there too. Have a great afternoon.
Michelle.